That must be what you're talking about. That's not a C clamp. If anything, it's an O clamp. Oh.
Hey, you made it. It's Uncle Jake, of course. Thanks for stopping by. You might notice something a little different today. It's a boat, but we're here with our friend, Mark.
Hello.
Hello.
Me again.
It's us again. But you know that, you stopped by. So you might remember Mark from the last video we did together, which was the testing of the powered steering on the four-wheeler.
Yes, sir. Best thing we ever did.
Best thing we ever did.
That was fun.
We'll put a link, and we've talked about needing to upgrade your four-wheeler for that.
Absolutely. That's something we have to talk about some more.
We will. However, today we're working on this right here. So Mark's got himself a little upgrade project over here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what we're doing here, Mark?
New electronics for the boat.
So we thought it would be kind of nice to talk just super briefly about what this unit is, maybe a couple features, but really show you how would you install this on your boat. Because maybe you don't know, maybe you've never done it before, maybe you'd like to try and you'd like to, as I'm referring to ourselves now as the Fearless Intermediates, you'd like to, we're not professionals, we don't get paid, but the Fearless Intermediates.
Right. And I can promise you this, if you don't need it hooked up on your boat, you know somebody that does.
Ah, that's a good point.
Somebody you know needs someone to help with their electronics. Something's wrong, something, I don't know how to get to it, where can that wire be? Everybody's got those questions, so.
That's a good point. So getting to see somebody else show you how is huge. That's one of the best things about YouTube. And of course, entertainment. So let's take a look at this unit. This one that we have right here is what? I don't know what all that is.
EchoMap.
Oh, the EchoMap.
Yep, a UHD. It's a 7-inch. It's a 7-inch screen. It'll be this unit.
That's a nice size screen.
Yeah. Yeah. That helps a lot. And of course, they make them a lot bigger. And it's touch screen, so it's going to be a little easier. You don't have to spend as much time trying to figure out going into menus and
right,
and all
several
the other
menus
stuff.
deep to
The
get where
touch
you want to
screen
go.
is going to help you a lot.
I want that.
That's the reason. That's the reason why I bought it.
So that makes sense. So we're gonna dig in here. We got the parts. Look at it. I can't remember, his man had them all laid out. Isn't that nice of him?
Ready to go.
Ready to go. So what we'll do is we're gonna get the first one moved up front, get that set, and then we'll just kind of show you steps beginning to end on this one. We'll probably provide you some entertainment along the way. So if you like entertainment and you like learning how to do things, don't forget to subscribe.
Subscribe. Send us a comment. Tell us what you thought.
Yeah, tell us what you thought. What should we have done better or different?
Absolutely.
What did you like?
We couldn't do anything better.
You can't do anything better. Just tell us what you liked then. And so I say
Here we go. Go to work.
Let's go. And look who we got here today. We got a Dr. Torque who's joined the squad. Free of charge even. Because remember, we're the Fearless Intermediates. Fortunately, there are some companies that really care about making instructions easy to understand. For example, let's go over this next spot in our installation.
To exchange NMEA 0183 data, the HDS 8 and HDS 10 units have NMEA 0183 version 2.0 RS422 communication port. Serial communication port 1, COM1, can be used to transmit or receive NMEA format data there's two RS-232 ports, COM1 and COM2.
Does it get any more straightforward than that?
Yes.
I think no explanation is required. You all know what that meant. So we don't even have to try to explain it. All right, next step, but check this out. Got a couple fellows. This is Nick. This is Xavier, stopped by. They even ran home and got us tools. Not that I didn't come totally prepared, but they brought us some tools, which was really nice. I've had like several trips to get tools. But so this is just an interesting step. This is the base for the mount. And what I did is just set it up here. Actually, you guys want to hand me that mount? Yeah. So something that you can do is just sit it up and move it around until you get it where you like, which is what we did. And then while this was underneath, we just drew it with the, marked it out with a pencil along there. So that way I can take it off. And then we can mount it. Piece of cake. And we'll move on to the next step. Isn't that right, fellas?
Yes, sir.
And there's Tom. All right, let's get to work. Okay, next step, because we got this mounted now, is to check, make sure that this transducer line is long enough. We're going to be mounting it to the trolling motor, so it's got to run up to the top of that, all the way back down here, up underneath the side, under the dash, and then back up around. Any bets? I think it's going to be close. That's our next step. I'm going to hand you off to our brand new cameraman. Sweet. So that goes on the bottom. And you know what, too? This is going to get moved around, so we can't make this too tight here. I'm going to have to keep this kind of loose in here, and maybe hopefully a little bit of slack right here. So let's say it comes up roughly right there if you hold down. It's getting close. So if this runs through here, we're fine, but then it still needs to come up roughly that far. We got it. Sweet. So that should work. That's good news. I think that's even going to leave us a little bit of play up here, because, you know, this doesn't sit, so if he wants to move this around, I don't want this then to end up being too short. So that's it. All right, sweet. We'll run this, and then we'll catch up with you at the next step. All right, next step is to take the transducer, mount the bottom motor, pointed side goes forward. So the flat part back with the prop. And what you do is you take this, and here we're going to make sure that that is mounted up so it's easy to get to. There's a slot right through. Don't drop it. There we go. Thank you very much. There's a slot right here that you slide this through. And then you just mount it on the bottom like that. You want to run this in and beautiful.
Perfect.
We're done. Now our next step.
It's not centered. 1 second.
We got to center it. See how wide
There
these
we
guys
go.
are around? Centering it perfectly. So now that that's centered, we got to attach this and run it all the way back like we showed you, and then start hooking it up. So far, not so bad though, huh? Not bad at all. Next step, you're going to have, when you're mounting these cables on the back, this one has a nut. Did you hear that? I got that right. A nut attached. This red wire. This one for the orange cable, the orange end cable, does not. You have to break this and attach it, flip it around and attach it. Take that little O-ring that comes with it, and that slides. See, that slides right on the end right there? Slides right on the end. And these just snap together. Snap over the top of that. And that gives you your connection to the back of this one. Now these are also grooved. There's a slot in both of these, so you can't put these in the wrong way, so don't sweat that. And then you just tighten this baby up. This one that has a split in it doesn't get as tight as the other one. Before if you do, it'll just kind of pop a, how would you describe that? Just like that right there. Pops a thread.
Whoa.
Yeah, so.
Thread popping.
It's thread popping. So you can't over tighten this one very much. It'll just pop a thread because, again, it's split. This one gets pretty tight. This one does not. And then we just mount that to our section out. We've got our lines ran up through here. Here's a step on installing the transducer cable that we really want to show you. That's a lot of bright back there, isn't it? There you go. Because if you don't do this part right, you will absolutely have a problem. And that is making sure that when you look at this shaft, this spins inside of that. See how that's turning right here? And this is not turning, which means if you straighten that out, go ahead and straighten it out, Tom. And you put it tight to the shaft, you're not going to have any room when you start to turn it. See how it's pulling? So what you're going to want to do is spin that as far as it will go one direction that needs the most slack, like that. And then you're going to want to pin it with your zip tie right to there. And then that way, I'm going to hold this. Go ahead and unscrew that, Tom. And then when you unscrew it, you got plenty of slack. So that's how you do this part. I'll show you. That's so bright. Just like my future. That's when somebody should have chimed in right there. Stone cold.
You need some shades.
I do need some shades. All right, on to the next step. So we've got this.
What'd you say, Mr. ADD?
ADD. I just have to make sure it's done right. You understand what I'm saying? That's Uncle Jake's way. It's Tom's way too. Don't listen to him. Anybody says it's just for Jake. And one of the things I wanted to make sure for our friend Tom was that this was wrapped nice and tight. Did I say Tom? Everybody's Tom. Sometimes that happens. I say one person's name and everybody's name's the same. You understand? Our friend Mark. We wanted to make sure it was done right. And one of the things is not just to get this tight, but to make sure it's ran tight here. So I wanted to put a zip tie, not just here in the line, but have this close to this, what do you call it, that angle change, so that you don't get weeds and crap in there to hook up on as tight as possible all the way up here, except for this. Even though this kind of drives me nuts, you have to have it. like we just showed you, because you'll rip it off if you don't. So now we're just going to run it up. I'm going to put one more zip tie up here at the top, and then I'm going to transition down here. I'm just going to use some electrical tape here because I don't want to. This is a soft line, and I just don't want to kink that and have it wear. So we're just going to switch to electrical tape. But we're going to put one more right here, and we're going to finish running that, and then we're going to hook up the power, and then we're done. So let's keep it rolling. Fairly snug, and there you have it. Now you got the whole thing mounted in here.
Oh man, I think they got ripped off. There's no screen.
There's no screen. Yeah, we'll have to. We're gonna put that in last. But now it pivots left to right and pivot up and down. Fantastic. How about that? All right. So now we got to hook up. We'll show you once we get in there. But now we just have to hook up our last set of lines, which is power and ground, and these two, which we'll explain in a moment after we figure out what they are.
Jake keeps making me get up. I'm sitting over there. It's like 90-something degrees out. I'm trying to relax.
It is very hard. It is hot, and I do make him get up a lot. But this is an important step. So you've seen how we've tied this together all the way up to here with the last one. Yeah, all the way up. Slack there for turning. Last one here, we're running it underneath, opposite side of this, in case you have to open and close this or whatever, right? We don't want in the way. Then we're switching to electrical tape. I have it about every 6 inches. Now, before we start doing this, I wanted to tell you whether it was every 6 inches or every 8 inches, and so I measured to see what I was actually recording, and that man right there was making fun of me. Can you imagine that? But
I would never do that.
You would never do that. But I wanted you to know. So yes, I've been taping this about every 6 inches just because this curves. And if you don't, it hangs down. It like cuts across the corner.
Oh
so
man, there's slack right there.
Well, we don't have to have it. Now you're making me feel like I should do it more, but do as much of it as you want, but not too much. And then when you're down here on this, I'm gonna borrow the camera.
Yeah, good.
I'm gonna borrow the camera from this mount. Down here, this foot pedal moves, and so what you don't want is to have no slack right here, so that when you're moving this, you yank it loose or yank on it. So that's it for this side. We've got it ran up under here. One thing that the instructions will tell you, if you can, is to avoid running it by other wires, especially power wires. That can be a little tough in a boat. You're somewhat limited, so keep that in mind. And one thing they do include was a magnet to take out interference.
Noise suppression.
Noise suppression, which we have back here, so we might as well just go back here. I'll give you this, and we'll show you how to do that.
You mean how you should have before you assembled this part?
No, it's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. That's this guy right here, and that comes over here on this side, and it's the transducer line again, but you want to have this up closer to the unit because the idea is it's cutting out interference. So let's say I put it way in the back, but it's picking up interference along the way. This isn't going to cut it out, right? So you want to put it close to the end. All you do is just make a loop like this. I could do it. The loop doesn't have to be any particular size, just big enough to get this in. And then these stack a little bit awkwardly because I'm trying to show you, and that's a good excuse.
The person driving the boat bumps their knee against it a bunch.
Well, we're going to put this underneath the dash a little bit. There, that's it right there, right? And then you just slide it up underneath the dash like that and attach it, and you're good to go. Then you've got it wired in. Now all we got to do is the power. So we're really getting very close, and as I like to always say, it's going really good so far. And Tom always says,
It should be well. It's going well.
It's go. I just got grammar corrected. Can you believe that? If you watch the show, you probably can believe it.
Good as an adjective and well as an adverb. It's describing the verb, so well. You're doing well.
So when we have science time with Dr. Torque, what do we call this?
Grammar time?
It's grammar time.
Grammar lessons.
Grammar lessons
Grammar time.
with Dr. Torque. All right, so we'll finish this up. We'll get onto the powder and we'll show you how to do that. And cut scene, wrap this scene.
And action.
Are you actiony? Good timing, Dr. Torque. We're just finishing up installation. We've got our power and our ground hooked up, and we're not using these other wires for different plotting. These are for plotting GPS and such. Since we're not using those, you just disregard those. I like to tape up the bundles just a little bit so it's not, you know, just floating under there, and then you just tuck them under. We're gonna use one more of these brackets. What would you call these, Tom? Whatever those are, the hold wires. We're gonna do one more just to put.
I would call them rubber insulated clamps.
Rubber insulated clamps. We're gonna put one more right here just to keep this line nice and tight to this edge. And then it's time for testing. The camera's being held for me. So it probably was hard to see right there. So I just like to keep the wire management. Like when we're doing computers, this guy does not like working after me because I... Computers? Mm-hmm.
Who works on computers?
We do, don't let him fool you.
Nerds.
We do sometimes.
Nerds.
And cars and Raptors. Yeah, we just got that back. We'll have to tell you about that one. That was all new valves and rockers and broken rockers and stuff you wouldn't believe.
No valves. Valve springs.
Oh, valve springs, thank you. Who knows, a lot of stuff. But that is a video for another day. I'll stop back by. We're gonna finish this one up though with clamping that in and then testing. So let's keep it going. I'm not sure what the cost is if Mark paid for this, but I have a feeling it was expensive. So let's do our best to not break this. But you can see this unit's kind of cool because it plugs in and out of the whole case. You don't have to take this whole thing out and unplug it. You can just snap this in. Ooh.
Hopefully you can snap the whole thing.
Yeah, this sticks out even further than I thought. So I didn't know this stuck out. So it only pivots up and down a fair amount, but hey, it does.
You get what you get.
You get what you get in this tight, cramped space. Cover off, power on, no explosion, but that changed. Did you see that?
Nope.
It like got darker. Oh, Garmin, y'all.
Paula.
Is this touchscreen?
You agree.
It's touchscreen. Oh, if I wasn't such a nice guy and I was setting this up for Mark, I might pick the wrong language, but we're not going to do that. Ooh, water. I don't know what any of this other stuff means. Store demo. I wouldn't think so, but in case Mark would like to do that, I think that should be up to him. We're gonna like put the case back on, turn it off, but that's it. When we get Mark here, we'll get his impressions and we'll wrap this sucker up. You're happy about that?
That's going to be important if it turns on, by the way.
That might be helpful.
But we've had Dr. Torque here today, so I think we probably got a pretty good chance of turning it on.
I am the brains of the operation.
What?
See?
The brains of the operation,
Now he's got two of us that agree.
So, pop the screen cover off there. The power's up top, but the rest is up to you.
Oh, look at this. The positioning's perfect.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Okay, you do have a little
I'm
bit.
gonna be just like this. I'm looking right at it. That's exactly what I want.
That's awesome. And you do have a little bit of room to move it. Not a lot, but you've got probably a half-inch movement on that side to side, and then up and down. The tilt up and down is
Good
a ton of
solid
room on
mount.
that.
Lots of times I drive like this
Oh, okay. So you might want that a little bit higher.
because I don't like to be so low.
Ooh.
Trying to
And
look
this
through
is
the
touch
windshield.
screen, right? So you can just. Oh, you probably want like Danish or something. Well, I'd say that's a pretty successful conclusion. Mark, are you happy?
It's an excellent conclusion.
with the work?
I'm very, very excited. Yeah, I can't thank you enough. You guys amaze me.
You're welcome. You look good in the captain's
What's Tom
chair.
doing up there? He's making.
He's probably messing
Testing it.
Testing something.
Oh, okay.
Well, we're going to call that a win.
It's a win.
We'll have to get a report after you get out in the water and learn how to use that fancy piece of equipment. But that is how you install this Garmin GPS. And really, it's the same with any of the other ones. There's not much difference. You've got to run that cable to the transducer, which I kept calling the transponder. That's pro tip. And then you've got to run your power and your ground. And then there's a few other things that this one doesn't have equipped, which is position sensing and court plotting and things like that. Court plotting, course plotting, and that's it. Hey, thanks for stopping by. Don't forget, if you want to hang out with the Fearless Intermediates again, because remember, we don't get paid for this, we just have fun. Subscribe and click the bell.
Yes, sir. And we thank you very much. What a beautiful, what a great job. Absolutely a great job. I wish I could have been here more with you when you were doing it.
Yeah, he had to work. We had all the fun. Thanks for hanging out with us and having fun too. Have an awesome rest of the day. We love you. You know we take you out. Go watch some other videos too, but we'll take you out and comment with the fist bump of friendship. Whoop-ow. Somebody looking over your shoulder. But are you?
We're boat experts.
Have we given you great confidence now? There we go.
This is the bow.
This is the bow.
That's the stern.
What is it?
Stern.
Starboard's to the right, port's to the left. I
Yeah,
think.
port and starboard.
Yeah.
And
Aft and fore. Now you're about to
We're
run.
playing golf now?
Yeah, when you're about to run over somebody, you yell, forward. We'll use the C-clamp to put it on the bottom of the trolling motor.
C-clamp?
Yeah, C-clamp, hose clamp, pipe fitting tool thing. That's super easy. Hey, what's your hat? Can we say it?
Finnegan Speed and Marine? I'm not sure if you can say it.
We just did.